To W. Nope, not that. Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. And today, what you can do is understand what you're going to see before you see it. The president of these United States is going to be giving a announcement today, 9 p.m. from the White House. Natchikit, good to see you. Pinkerbell, hello. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, the president's going to be giving an announcement from the White House today, and boy, I have a feeling that I know what he's going to be talking about. But regardless, you said he will give money, says Elaine. Who said he will give money? I don't recall saying that. I don't think that's what's happening. But if you have reason to believe that, tell me ahead of the announcement. The announcement's at 9 p.m. If you think he's going to be handing out money, this is a great opportunity. Tell me why you think that and what your reasoning is. And I'll tell you the same for what I think he's going to announce and what my reasoning is. But look, Groove Dragon, we going to be at war with Venezuela. Yeah, that's what I think of it. Elaine says, the shadow in front of me. Uh-oh. Look, I no longer have a contract with the shadow people. I understand the confusion earlier that we'd actually never had one, but we were in talks. I was trying to make inroads into the demon community. I talked to shadow demons. I talked to the sleep paralysis demons, and we were considering some sort of a joint venture, but it fell through. We just had totally different goals. Oh, he said he will give you money. I mean, it's a tough economy. If the shadow demons got money, take it. That's what I'm saying. All right, but what's Trump going to be talking about? What's Trump going to be talking about? Venezuela. He has been picking on this country without a coherent cause. He's said one thing, then he said another. He's attacking boats that he claims are full of drugs, without permission from you and me, which he is supposed to get to use our military, not his military, our military. We are supposed to, through our representatives, have a say in whether or not we deploy that huge military that we all pay a third of our taxes for. Great Alec Baldwin movie reference. Good to see you, Snixabia. I'm turning off. I'm looking away from the comments intentionally right now. As Pink will be well aware, I can easily you just dip into a whole show that's nothing but chatting with the comment section. But look, I want to talk to folks that I think are unlikely to normally give a what my opinion is on anything. A couple years ago, we had the luxury of being able to just stay angry with each other and select the politicians we think were going to do what we want and move on with life. We don't have that luxury anymore. Do you understand? MAGA and progressives have to get on the same page about a couple of key issues. And I don't mean this in terms of like, or else we'll be sad. I mean, for the goals both parties have said that they care about. When I talk to MAGA, they do seem to care about getting big money out of politics. They don't want George Soros buying elections, just like we don't want the Koch brother buying elections. Neither of these groups think oligarchs should be in charge. Well, here's the problem, gang. We need a 2/3 vote now to get oligarchs out of power, to have them no longer choosing our politicians for us. There's no way around this other than we have to be in agreement. Now, there's some good news and a compliment I'm going to pay towards MAGA. And if you're one of my regular listeners, I encourage you to be free with your compliments towards MAGA if you sincerely mean them, because we should be setting an example. If we actually give a about the people we say we care about, we should set the example. So be free. Go ahead with your compliments. Here's one I sincerely have for MAGA. You have changed the direction of your whole party. You, the far right people, have successfully taken control of your party. Progressives should learn from your strategies. Now, the problem we have is that the only thing we ever hear about you guys, about MAGA, is similar to the stuff you only ever hear about us. It's only bad stuff. True or untrue, we only ever hear bad things about you. Just like you all only ever hear horrible things about us. We need to learn from you, which means we need to examine what you did that worked for ourselves. But even if we're successful, it still won't matter if the voters, the MAGA voters and the progressive voters, those centrist traitors, the people in the center, believe it or not, are worse than the people at either end. Because at least the people at the either extreme of politics acknowledge that America is broken and must be fixed. The people in the center want us just to suffocate slowly and in utter poverty. The people in the center are not a compromise. They are a third faction. They are the people who serve the rich and the sleepy servants of the rich. Those who are just comfortable enough to survive and are too tired after their workday to change anything. That's the average voter in the country. So MAGA and progressives, we have to get in agreement about certain issues. I know we're going to spend the rest of our lives strongly disagreeing about whether or not I assume black people are human beings. I happen to think they are. we're not going to agree on some fundamental stuff. We're never going to like each other as human beings. We don't have to. That is not the goal here. It'd be lovely if that happened, but it's not going to happen. What is, hopefully, in the cards is that we can agree on how our leaders are allowed to behave, how much power our leaders are allowed to have, how much power a rich man has over your life. If we agree on those things, and we both have a MAGA-style control over our representatives, as in they fear us, and they do as we say for fear of retribution, political retribution, for fear of being kicked out of office, in other words, primaried, then suddenly we don't need to try to convince the whole party to go this way or that. We don't need to take our opinions and wash them, water them down with centrist nonsense that's designed to help the bosses. No, at that point, we can say, okay, MAGA, we're in agreement. You go to your people, we'll go to our people, and we will get the votes needed to pass the legislation. You understand what I'm saying? Good. I will take that as granted. Yeah, I know. We're not going to have a fun, politics will not be fun for a good long time. It's going to be mostly groups who have been told to hate each other, having to work together. Well, not setting aside that hate, if I'm honest. I don't, if it's necessary for us to set aside the hate, then we're having the wrong conversation. I do hope that as a result of this, everybody matures. Everybody finds out who the real devils have been this whole time. But the point is, it's not about, are we pals? Again, that'd be great, but that's not the question here. The question is, are we in agreement about who's screwing us over? That's all we got to agree on. And it's frankly laid out pretty easily. Hey, Republicans, I'd like to tell you about somebody called Barack Obama. Progressives, get ready. I think you've heard this before. You're going to hear this a lot more coming out of this channel. Barack Obama is, for Democrats, what Trump is for Republicans. I'm going to say it again so that you can well and truly understand what it is I am telling you. The function of Barack Obama in U.S. politics is pretty much identical to what Donald Trump has been as far as legislation in this country goes. Barack Obama was known as the change candidate. Barack Obama promised a bunch of progressive sounding things. And just the very fact that he was a black man was a thumb in the eye of people we hate. We hate racists. I truly do, with a passion, hate racists. If you're a racist and you're wandering through my neighborhood late at night with your little swastika on, I can't promise you're going to be able to leave ever again. I say that knowing it's unwise for my career to announce such a thing. It's unwise for me getting away with it to announce such a thing. I just mean I get irrationally angry when face to face with these people. I've left a job just to say "F you" to somebody with a Confederate flag on their hat. That is why it was genuinely a pleasure for me to see a black man be president. And I drank up the sorrow of the filth that was angry about it. But here's the problem. That was as far as my demands went. I didn't have enough of an understanding about what was wrong with America, what was actually hurting people, to make demands out of the person who was my president back then. In the first term, we were told he's got big plans for you, but we're going to have to wait to the second term. The first term, we're just stabilizing things. The first term, we're just showing everybody that it's going to be a normal presidency for the most part, nothing to worry about. But the second term's when the big change happens. Second term came around, and the big change never materialized. Because he didn't need our votes then. All he did was secure his legacy. He had one piece of legislation that he could literally put his name on. That was the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, which was really just Romney Care. It was just stolen from, ironically, the person he ran against, Mitt Romney. That was his legislation in Romney's home state. So what happened? We were promised a change president with Obama. There was things that he wore on his sleeve, really shallow things, like the color of his skin or his vague head nods to change, that were promised to us, and they just never materialized. Fast forward, who's the response candidate? Donald Trump. What does he promise? Massive change. He's not very specific on how he's going to get it done, but he proposes wild and crazy things. And crucially, he pisses off the people who aren't racist, which makes Republicans really, really happy. They love seeing, quote unquote, liberal tears. That meme of the lady screaming, it was the only thing that allowed these people to get half a chub in order to try yet again to make love to their wives, even though they'd rather be on Grindr. The point is, Republicans and Democrats are going through the same thing. Republicans with Trump have a guy who promised change, blamed all the lack of change on it being the first term, and in the second term, it's mask off. He doesn't give a fuck about you. What's he doing now? With Obama, we got, more airstrikes overseas when he said we were going to stop going to war. He didn't, by the way, stop going to war. He did get bin Laden, but at home, we got what? An utter field day for executive power. The power of the presidency expanded under Obama. Trump has done the exact same thing. If you don't think that Trump and Obama are basically the same scam being run for two different political parties, I would like to point out Ashley Babbitt's voting record. Ashley Babbitt voted for Obama and then tried to vote for Bernie, who also was going to be a change candidate, and then did vote for Trump. I say tried to vote for Bernie because he didn't make it out of the primaries either time he ran. God damn. Then did vote for Trump. Ashley Babbitt. She died for Trump. People in America are desperate for change, and rightly so. I have good news for you. If you got swindled by Trump, if you got swindled by Obama, I got great news for you. I am not insulting you. I am complimenting you. Because the people that wanted to vote for Clinton, Jeb, any of the centrists, those people did not understand how sick America is. Those people are continually voting for slow death. So if you're MAGA or if you're progressive, at the very least, you understand the core fundamental thing that I need everybody to understand before we can have any sort of serious discussion about politics, which is that what we are currently doing does not work. The thesis of the way things have been run for the past 40 years has been proven to be incorrect over and over and over again. Hey, MAGA folks, if you would like a freebie, I mean literally a freebie. Hey, progressive folks, ditto to you. Bill Clinton's former labor secretary is a guy named Robert Reich. He has a free course you can take. This course is about why Americans are poor. It is called Wealth and Poverty. Again, I stress to you, it's free. Well, I'll figure out how to pin that later. I just put it in the comments. Now, why, if you're a Republican, would you want to take a course by Bill Clinton's former labor secretary? Well, thing number one, during the course, he explains how wrong Bill Clinton is about economics. I think you will enjoy that. In the second video, he goes into detail about how bad Bill Clinton is at economics, how little the man understands. I think you will enjoy having ammunition for future conversations when you want to talk about how shitty the Clintons are. I think you'll enjoy being able to say, not only do I think Bill Clinton doesn't know what he's talking about with economics, I'm going to say, in the words of his own labor secretary, why this jackass doesn't know what he's talking about with economics, why NAFTA was disastrous, why the way in which CEOs are compensated, which was decided under Clinton, is disastrous. So that's a gift I have for you, MAGA. I'm exposing the necks of Democrats to you. Get in there and bite down. Get us. Why would I do that? Democrats are not on my side. You need to understand this above all else if you are MAGA trying to understand why are progressives so crazy. That's the thing. We're not. Well, I am, but most of us aren't. And we can hate Democrats. The only person in the world who hates Democrats more than you, I assure you, will be a Democrat. People who must vote Democrat but actually want the things Democrats claim to be in favor of hate Democrats. Because Democrats, by and large, and I'm talking 95% of the party, do not actually pursue the goals they say they care about. No wonder Republicans don't trust us. Why would they? The words that they say don't align with the actions that they do. Why do they keep listening to other people about what Democrats are up to? Well, because you can't take a Democrat's word for it. That's the problem. Mallory McMurrow, from my state, said she was for universal health care. Then she said she wasn't for Medicare for all. Her reasoning? Well, do you want Trump, a.k.a. the president, to decide what your health care is? No, I don't want that. That's why I want this to be well written, the laws that give us Medicare for all. In other words, Mallory McMurrow is not for universal health care. She is for some excuse that an insurance company will give us as to why we could have health care if we wanted. We just have to give them money we don't have. Mallory McMurrow is a standard Democrat. You want to see a good Democrat? Abdul El-Sayed, also from my state. An actual doctor, by the way, wants universal health care. I don't have to tell you 2 sentences to explain it. I don't have to tell you 2 paragraphs. I don't need anything other than 3 words. He's for it. Yeah, he thinks you should be able to walk into a doctor's office, present your ID card, or tell them your social security number, so long as they can look up your medical records. And that's it. It's not a financial transaction for you. That is universal health care. Abdul El-Sayed is a person who actually wants what Democrats claim to be for. But you have to understand, Republicans, that most of our party are what you would call centrists. Most of our party are trying to appeal to you, ironically, are trying to appeal to you with their policy because they think you like being screwed over. Don't worry, you're not totally escaping criticism here. I know I've been going hard on Democrats, but we're going into you in a moment because that's what the announcement you're about to hear is going to be about. They think you enjoy being screwed over, the kind of politicians who write policy. They also are under, for Democrats, they are also under the impression, for some reason, that you guys pay attention to policy and we don't, which is why they think they're going to get away with lies when they're up here campaigning. Here's the problem. You don't pay attention to policy, Republicans. And so when those policies come out that screw you over, you say, ugh, another Democrat policy, even though it was written usually by a GOP think tank and just endorsed by a Democrat. Similarly, we do follow policy. And when we see that their words on the campaign trail had nothing to do with their policy, we punish them by doing nothing. We don't do a damn thing when they betray us. So this is why I want us intermingling. We need to learn from you. So there's some consequences. Y'all need to learn from us so you understand what these policies are actually doing when all the razzmatazz is put away. Case in point, Trump seems to have been learning from his administration what the cause of war has been for the United States for the last 50 years. I say this because he has given excuses that America, in other words, what are the old lies that U.S. presidents told to the people in order to go to war? He's been giving those excuses all about one country. He used the lies we told about Iraq and Afghanistan in order to attack boats. You see, in the early 2000s, American presidents found the cheat code for getting away with murder, which is to say, you just call whoever you're killing a terrorist. Bush did this. Obama did this. Obama killed a U.S. citizen by doing this. He just said he was a terrorist. Obama said that, not a judge. This wasn't decided in a courtroom. This was decided on Barry Obama's fucking whim. And he murdered a U.S. citizen. No trial, no nothing. But that's one human being. Bush killed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. What am I saying? Hundreds of thousands of human beings by just saying terrorist. You know, the 5-year-old terrorist screaming over the corpse of his 30-year-old terrorist mother. His grand terrorist with their leg blown off, trying to crawl to him to protect him from a follow-up strike, bleeding out before they get there. And then the 5-year-old terrorist is exploded with that follow-up strike. And we got him. America's safer. We got that whole family of terrorists. See, you just call something a terror. You call somebody a terrorist instead of, a civilian, for example, instead of a fisherman, instead of whatever. In this case, Trump is saying narco-terrorist. Let's be clear. A terrorist is somebody who is using violence to achieve political change. There's no such thing as a narco-terrorist. If you are a narco anything, you probably don't want the laws to change because your money is reliant upon the thing you have being illegal. If drugs were legal in the United States, do you think we would go to these dudes for them? It would be some company out of Miami that would be poisoning us. Would you consider a Christian terrorist? I mean, a Christian can be a terrorist. A Christian can be anything. A terrorist is just somebody who uses violence or the threat of violence to accomplish a political means. So, an example of a Christian terrorist would be Timothy McVeigh, the guy who blew up that abortion clinic. See, he was trying to achieve political change using violence, and he killed a bunch of kids doing that, by the way. But his Christianity is like, I don't look at a Christian and think, well, there's a terrorist. Just like I don't look at a Muslim and think, a terrorist. There's no such thing as a religion of terrorists. There's just people of all walks of life who think that it's okay to use violence to achieve a political end. My point is that these people that are being attacked are not terrorists. Even if they are drug dealers, and even if you think we should use physical intervention of some kind to stop them, like, for example, surrounding the boats with our giant navy and taking them prisoner and then trying them in a court of law, if that is what you think we should do, that's fine. But they're not terrorists. And the fact that he's lying about it should tell you that we need to put a full stop on anything he's doing, because there is deception here. But look, it's not just the terrorist excuse he's been giving. What did he say before that? After that. Well, he said fentanyl is a WMD. What? WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. That was the excuse we used for the Iraq war. You know, that war that Trump has said many times that he was against and was a stupid idea? WMDs. Bush lied about those. The Republican president, George W. Bush, lied and said that the CIA told him that there was evidence of WMDs, when in fact, the CIA told him the opposite. They said, we have looked thoroughly. We see no evidence of large-scale weapons. We just don't see those. Colin Powell, he was, I believe, Bush's Secretary of Defense. Oh my God, time is killing me. He went up and lied to Congress. This administration, the Bush administration, will burn in hell for those lies, because those lies got hundreds of thousands of people killed. After all, it's terrorists with WMDs. You have to act irrationally now. Now you have to panic, American people. Now's the time for cowardice. Quickly, kill him. Kill him now. He's rolling out the old playbooks. Why is it even Venezuela? Well, because it's a Latin American country. And he's looking for war. War is a distraction from the diddling he obviously did. Trump drew a picture of a preteen girl naked and sent it to a famous pedophile on his birthday, talking about what secrets they shared and how they were the best of friends. War is better for his reputation. Murder is better for his reputation than the things he's done. And you know what? It's not like it's a fake war or fake murders. They actually happened. He is willing to add to his list of sins to get you to stop talking about the last one. He is no different than Obama for you guys. He has hijacked your belief system in order to do his own thing, to carve out his own chunk of the world, to thieve from you, in other words. He lied to you so you would give him power, and then he took that power and used it for his own ends. He didn't do the things he said he would do with it. He did whatever he wanted with it.
Good evening, America.
Find
11
out we're
months
going to war.
ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration. That's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people.
He looks healthier
Many who
than he
came
normally
from
looks.
prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane
Let's listen to
asylums.
these lies.
They were drug dealers, gang members, and
Lies.
even 11,888 murderers, more than
Lie.
50% of whom killed more than one person. This is
Huge
what
lie.
the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country.
Heads up.
And it can
None of
never
that's
be
true.
allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody,
Jesus Christ.
crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words
Christmas
such
message,
as
everybody.
that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states
Literally
and
just
everything
not true.
else, with a mandate to
And of
take
course, I
on a
disagree.
sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the
question
worst
for you.
border anywhere in the world, and
If
we
somebody
quickly
snuck
turned
in
it into
illegally,
the strongest
how would
border
Trump know?
in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions.
Quiet, boy. Real quick. 350 Palestinians have been killed since that peace treaty. He is a liar. There is no peace in the Middle East. There is no war in whatever that Avatar thing is.
Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace.
Just a heads up, this dude realizes that you will take what he says for granted in 2-week increments. So he just said wages are going up. Wages are predicted to plummet over the next 3 months. He has, at least according to the information we have, no reason to believe wages will go up. Again, lying straight to your face.
Remember that the wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs. And that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles, we're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months.
All
Next
of them
year,
talk
you will
like
also see
14-year-olds
the results
from the 60s.
of the largest tax cuts in American history
The hottest
that were
country.
really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress.
Devastated
We
the
wrapped
economy.
12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year. And next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed one big beautiful bill.
Not on any documentation he's
Tonight,
released.
I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call warrior dividend before Christmas, a warrior dividend in honor of our nation's founding in 1776.
Soldiers.
We are sending every soldier $1,776.
We're going to ask them to die
Think of
in
that.
January.
And the checks
And we
are already
think they're willing
on
to
the
die
way.
for about
Nobody
$1,000.
understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military. And I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military. And last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interest to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it
common
began
Republican
as of
tactic.
4 days ago.
This guy's
There
been
has
in
never
power
anything
for
like
one
this in
quarter
the
of my
history
life
of our
now.
country. Drugs have only gone up, but
All
now
he
they'll
does
be
is
going
get up
down by
there
numbers never conceived possible.
and
It's called
tell a
most
waterfall
favored
of
nation.
lies,
And no president
trusting
has ever had the
that
courage or
nobody who
ability
came in
to get this
agreeing with
done
him
until now.
will
The first
care
of
to
these
see if what he said
unprecedented
is
price
true.
reductions will be available starting
challenge
in
you.
January through a
Take
new
any one of
website,
these things that he said so far,
TrumpRx.gov.
literally any one
And
of them,
these big price cuts will greatly reduce
and
the
show
cost
me
of health care. I'm also taking on the
where's the evidence of what
gigantic
he's saying.
health insurance companies that have
Beyond
gotten rich
he
on
got up there and
billions
said
of
it.
dollars of money that should
There
go
is none.
directly to the people. The
There's none.
money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better.
And you'll be
health
charged
insurance.
3
The
times
current
what you were.
Unaffordable Care Act was created
We'll give
to
you
make insurance
$200
companies
a
rich.
month
It was bad health
to
care
pay
at much
for health
higher cost.
insurance,
And
which
you
now
see that
costs
now in the steep
$800
increase
a
in
month.
premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are
You were
demanding
getting
those
a
increases,
free
and it's their
$400 a
fault.
month
It is
health
not the
insurance plan,
Republicans' fault. It's the
but we'll give you
Democrats'
less than
fault.
that money
It's
to
the
pay for something which
Unaffordable
is going to
Care
double
Act,
in
and
price.
everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much
You will
lower
get
price.
worse
The
health
only
care at a
losers will
higher
be
price.
insurance
It's
companies
literally opposite of
that
what
have
he's
gotten
saying.
rich, and the
There's no
Democratic
reason to
Party,
believe
which is
this.
totally controlled
Every
by
other
those same
country in the
insurance
world
companies.
that can
They
does
will not be
universal health
happy,
care
but
because it's
that's
a better
okay with
deal
me
for the
because
people,
you,
and
the
it's
people,
just
are
logical.
finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost.
No
Another major
terrible
focus
health
is the
care,
cost
much
of
higher
energy.
cost. That's
For
what the
years,
facts say.
radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically
literally
drove up prices. And
Has
they drove
funneled
them up
billions of
at
dollars
record
into his own
levels.
massive slush funds.
Electricity
His
costs
wealth has
surged
doubled
30 to 100%
over the last
under Biden,
year.
and the typical family
His
lost
wealth doubled.
$5,000 to $10,000.
He's taken billions of
higher
dollars in
energy
bribes
costs. Think
and
of that,
thieved
$5,000
billions
to
of dollars from you.
$10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50
I don't think he's going to wait
a
to be
gallon
done
in
to
much of the country.
give it a blow.
In
He
some
might do it right in the
states,
middle.
by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months,
Oh,
we will
great.
have
Can't wait for that to
opened
be my state or any
1,600
state
new
that actually
electrical
exists.
generating plants. A
Fantastic.
record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream.
I'm
The
hoping that
yearly
he just
cost of a
chickens out
typical
about
new mortgage
Venezuela,
increased
but I
by
suspect that right at the end he's going to say,
$15,000
"Oh, and by the way, we're
Democrat
going to
rule.
war."
In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual
I'm sure
cost
somebody's
down
explained
by
to him that he
$3,000,
can't
and it's
actually
coming
send
down
troops
a lot lower. Wait till you see the numbers are
without
gonna be
congressional
shocking. And
approval
I'll
for more
soon
than, I
announce
think,
our next chairman of
150
the Federal
days.
Reserve, someone
But that's
who
an
believes
eternity
in
as far as he's
lower
concerned.
interest rates by a lot and mortgage payments will be
Yeah,
coming
video
down
is really
even
low, you're right.
further early
Sorry.
the new year, and you will see this in the new year. I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my
Half right. We have
opinion, the
never been
worst thing
invaded,
that the Biden administration did to our
including when he
country is
says
the
we were. You were
invasion
not invaded.
at the border. The last
Literally never happened.
administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent
just
and
didn't
housing
happen.
costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free.
All right. I'm just going to clarify right now what actually happened. Republicans over the last 20 years kept voting to have less immigration judges. As a result of those votes by Republicans to have less judges to do immigration hearings to figure out should you be in our country or not, we had a backlog of unprocessed immigrants. They then said that all of those immigrants were illegal, even though it's their fault that they hadn't been processed yet. And they reacted as though that was an invasion. No, that was a buildup of regular folks just trying to get regular entry into the country like every other country has, except ours had a Republican, incompetent judicial system. We just need more judges. It's that simple. But he calls it an invasion because he's looking for an excuse to make a scapegoat out of brown people so that you won't demand a better quality of life for yourself. That's as simple as it is.
An end to it for so long as before
Or
my
rather,
election.
it's as simple as that.
The vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged
literally
every
what he's doing
system that
right
makes
now.
civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure.
Troops in the streets,
Inflation has stopped. Wages
unmasked,
are
or
up.
rather
Prices
masked,
are down. Our nation
unidentified,
is strong. America
squad,
is respected.
kidnapping
And our
people.
country is
America
back,
is
stronger
not
than
respected.
ever before.
America
We're
has
poised for an
lost
economic
the
boom,
respect
the
of
likes
the
of
world
which the world
because
has
of
never
Donald
seen.
Trump. And the
Soon
people
we
who
will host the World Cup
could
and
they
the
respect
Olympics, both of
they,
which
they
I
just
got.
can't.
But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There
This is
could
not an
be
exaggeration,
no
my
more
Tinkerbell.
fitting tribute to this
You wanna
epic
predict
milestone
what
than
is
to
and is not
complete
true.
the
Go
comeback
with whatever
of
the opposite of
America
what Trump says.
that began just 1 year ago.
There's
When
the
the
truth.
world looks
The
at us
opposite of
next
what
year,
Trump
let
says
them see a
is
nation
reality.
that is loyal to its citizens,
And yeah,
faithful
we're a
to its
laughingstock.
workers, confident to
It's
its identity,
embarrassing to be an American
certain to
with
its
this guy in
destiny,
charge.
and the envy of the
Pathetic,
entire
frankly.
globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected
Let's put
before.
this back up.
To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wait a minute. He did stand there awkwardly for a second. Yeah, it's funny. So look, delighted to find out that he's not going to push the boundaries of presidential power yet again by preemptively saying that we are in a state of war. Well, he's already said we're at war with Venezuela. I guess he didn't have to declare anything. But look, the fire hose of lies continues. This dude, just like Obama before him, has no problem getting up in front of the microphone and shouting at his base a bunch of things that he's doing and he plans to do, and trusting that his base will not care to fact check it, doesn't even know how to fact check it. And so, in the interest of poisoning the final years of this guy's life, I will tell you hopefully the few members of his base who wind up coming across this video, how to fact check it. Take any one thing he's saying and find out by Googling or watching don't trust the news, because odds are, I'm sorry to say, you don't have reliable news sources in your life. But you look it up by typing into the internet the topics he's talking about and find out if there is reason for him to have said the things he says he believes. Is there reason for him to believe these things? For example, he said that wages for Americans are going up. So you might want to look at the number of jobs that Americans hold. Have the overall jobs gone down? Because if wages are going up, but it's at the cost of there being less jobs, what's happening is people are getting fired. Their responsibilities are being divided up between their coworkers, and those coworkers are getting a slight pay bump. Or is it perhaps that we're going to find out that a bunch of rules that regulated stock buybacks, for example, for CEOs, just got lifted this year, and now CEO pay is skyrocketing? The richest 400 Americans control 20% of our entire economy. 400 people, not even a full town's worth of folks, controls 20% of our economy. Is it possibly that those 400 people all got a lot more money and all of you got a lot less? Or rather, you were just fired. They got more money because their stocks were more valuable, because the company for one quarter was going to be valued at a higher rate because they let go a bunch of employees. If you're not working somewhere, there's no salary to measure. And so CEO pay goes up, America is poorer, and Trump can say wages are rising. Basically, everything this dude just got up there and said will shake out like that. I've been watching him now for a decade. It's not particularly hard to figure out his grift. It's not particularly hard to walk through his grift once you see it. And if you had the courage to sit through all this and listen to me badmouth the guy that you think is on your side, I applaud you and I respect that. And I would ask one more act of maturity from you. I know you've already shown a hell of a lot. I'm going to ask for one more. Fact check some of the stuff he said. If it sounded great to you, but you don't feel it, if it sounded like, well, the economy's doing great from what he says, but it sure doesn't feel like a good economy to me, I don't feel like I can buy a house. I don't feel like I can pay off my debts. I don't feel the reality that he says exists. Pick some of the things he said that sound so good to you and see if they're true. And if you find out that your dude is lying to you, I want you to know you're not alone. And in fact, progressives will understand. Progressives will understand your frustration. They will understand your fury. And they will join you in your vengeance. And it's not just going to be against right-wingers. Because if you find yourself able to chit-chat with progressives, you will find that we also want a lot of Democrats in prison. We just want Republicans in prison too. You're not our enemy. We get so angry with you, and you get so angry with us, because you and us are the managers that we're allowed to yell at instead of the CEOs that made the store policy that is frustrating us today. But guess what? We can be on the same team. We can carry the torches and pitchforks together, sharpen the guillotines together, and get rid of every last one of these lying motherfuckers. I hope you'll consider joining me in that. I'm going to end this stream with this space, a fantastic progressive program. If you had the patience and the decency to hear me out, consider listening to Matt Strackbine. He's on now. He'll help you understand these people you've been arguing with.